Hey there, ready to awaken your inner giant? We're diving deep into Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. You know, it's a classic for a reason.
It really is. It's packed with wisdom, actionable advice, and really digs into, human behavior, why we do the things we do.
And we've got your notes right here, your highlights, and let me tell you some of your insights. Spot on.
Yeah.
It's like we were reading Robbins' mind together. So our mission today is to pull out those golden nuggets that can help you make real changes in your life. Speaking of which, you highlighted a passage early on that really resonated with me too, and it's Robbins' idea that it's not enough to just know what to do.
Right.
You have to actively decide to do it.
Yes.
It's in that decision, that commitment, where real change begins.
It's about taking the reins, becoming the driver of your life instead of letting life just happen to you. And Robbins uses this powerful metaphor. He calls it the Niagara Syndrome. Imagine most people just drifting along like they're in a barrel headed for Niagara Falls. Unless they actively paddle in the direction they want to go, they're going over the edge.
Okay, that image is both terrifying and motivating at the same time.
Right.
But it makes his point about the power of even small decisions hit home even harder. You know, like that quote, the smallest of hinges can swing the biggest of doors.
Absolutely.
Speaking of doors opening and destinies unfolding,
Yeah.
you also highlighted Robin's story of Soichiro Honda,
Yes.
the founder of Honda.
Talk about resilience. He faced setback after setback, but with each one, he made a conscious decision to find a solution. He could have easily given up, but he chose to adapt and persevere.
He decided to write his own story and look at the incredible impact he made on the world. It makes you realize that we all face setbacks,
Yeah.
but it's how we choose to respond to them that truly matters.
Absolutely. It's not about avoiding challenges altogether, but rather about deciding how we'll navigate them. And this leads perfectly into another key theme. You highlighted this idea that our brains are wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure.
Right. And Robbins takes it a step further by urging us to become aware of what we've unconsciously linked those feelings of pain and pleasure to.
Yes.
For example, we might think we're chasing pleasure by endlessly scrolling through social media, but
Yeah.
if that's leading to procrastination and FOMO, it's actually causing us more pain in the long run.
Exactly. Robbins calls these subconscious links neuroassociations. They're formed over time through our experiences, and they really shape how we respond to the world around us.
You know, this reminds me of something you underlined. Robbins' example of how companies use advertising to link pleasure to their products,
Yeah.
even if it's not always logical. He specifically mentions those old Levi's 500 jeans commercials.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember those.
They were masters at subtly implying that, wearing their jeans would make you more attractive, more desirable. Think about it. How many jeans commercials have you seen that focus on the actual quality or durability of the denim?
It's brilliant, really. They're tapping into our deep-seated desires and linking them to their products. But here's the empowering part. Once we understand how these neuroassociations work, we can start to rewire them.
Precisely. Robbins provides a step-by-step process for breaking those negative patterns and replacing them with more empowering ones. He calls it neuroassociative conditioning, or NAC.
And this is where things get really interesting, because we're not just talking about understanding our brains. We're talking about consciously reshaping our thoughts, our feelings, and ultimately our actions.
It's like taking control of the control panel of your own mind, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And speaking of rewiring our brains, you highlighted a section that blew my mind, the power of metaphors in shaping our reality.
It really is amazing how much our language can shape our perception, isn't it?
For sure, for sure.
For instance, you highlighted Robbins' point about how often people describe themselves as feeling stuck or trapped in life.
Yeah, I circled that too. And it really got me thinking, because I catch myself using those words sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I actually really examine the situation, it's usually not that I'm literally trapped. It's more like I don't see a way out yet.
Exactly. And Robbins argues that these metaphors, even if we're not consciously aware of them, they have this really powerful impact on our thinking. If we constantly tell ourselves, I'm stuck, our brain starts to believe it, making it even harder to find solutions.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like those escape room games, if you go in convinced you'll never figure it out, you probably won't even look for the clues.
Right.
But if you go in believing there's a way out, your brain starts searching for possibilities.
Precisely. And that's why Robbins suggests consciously shifting to more empowering metaphors. So instead of saying, I'm stuck in this dead-end job, what if you said, I'm in a transition phase, gathering the skills and experience I need for my next chapter?
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Such a subtle shift in language, but it completely changes the energy around the situation. Speaking of the power of language, you also flagged Robbins' concept of transformational vocabulary.
Oh, yes. One of the most impactful ideas in the book. He tells this great anecdote about a CEO who constantly used the word overwhelmed. And not surprisingly, the CEO was experiencing, massive stress and burnout.
Yeah, it's like he was unknowingly reinforcing that feeling of being overwhelmed every time he said the word.
Exactly.
But here's the fascinating part. Robbins helped him change just one word.
Just one word.
Instead of overwhelmed, the CEO started using the word challenged. Same workload, same responsibilities, but a totally different emotional response.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. It sounds so simple, but think about the words you use most often to describe your own life. Are they empowering you or are they holding you back?
It's a question worth pondering for sure, because ultimately, our words become our beliefs,
Right?
and our beliefs shape our actions. And that brings us to another powerful section. You marked Robbins's idea of action signals.
Yes, those negative emotions that most of us try to avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
And Robbins kind of flips the script on this one, doesn't he? He
Mm,
says those
yeah.
emotions are actually trying to tell us something important.
Precisely. He sees them as valuable messengers
Okay.
from our inner guidance system. So instead of, pushing those emotions away or trying to ignore them,
Right.
Robbins encourages us to ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me?
Yeah.
What action does it want me to take?
So, for example, feeling anxious about a presentation,
Yeah,
that might be a signal to prepare more thoroughly or to practice your delivery.
exactly. Or feeling frustrated with a project at work
Yeah.
could be a sign that it's time to get creative, try a new approach, or perhaps, ask for support.
Ask for help. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's about becoming more emotionally intelligent, I guess, more in tune with those subtle cues that can guide us towards a more fulfilling life.
Absolutely. And to help us, navigate those emotions more intentionally, Robbins suggests creating a personal code of conduct, which is essentially a set of empowering emotional states that we consciously choose to cultivate. And I believe you highlighted a few of your favorites.
I did. I love how Robbins reframes these seemingly negative emotions as opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
He encourages us to ask ourselves, what would it feel like to approach this situation with courage, with gratitude, with curiosity? It's about consciously choosing our emotional responses instead of letting our emotions control us.
Yeah, it's about becoming the master of our inner world, which then allows us to create the outer world we desire. And that brings us to another powerful idea you highlighted, Robbins' concept of a magnificent obsession.
Yeah, this is where Robbins really dives into the art and science of goal setting, wouldn't you say? But it's not just about setting any old goals. It's about finding those big, audacious goals that light you up from the inside out.
It's about finding that driving force, that burning desire that pulls you forward with so much passion that it becomes the central focus of your life. And Robbins emphasizes that these goals shouldn't feel like obligations. They should feel like incredible adventures.
Like you're about to embark on a once-in-a-lifetime trip.
Exactly.
You're not focused on the logistics or the potential hiccups. You're just filled with anticipation for all the amazing experiences that await.
Precisely. And Robbins provides some really tangible steps for transforming those goals from mere fantasies into realities. He talks about the power of not just visualizing the end result, but actually experiencing it, like with all your senses.
It's not just seeing yourself crossing the finish line. It's about hearing the roar of the crowd, feeling the weight of the metal around your neck, even tasting the victory champagne. It's about making it real in your mind, engaging all your senses.
Absolutely. Robbins calls this neuroconditioning, and it's such a powerful technique for programming your subconscious mind for success. And remember what we were talking about earlier about the power of language.
Yeah.
Robbins also emphasizes the importance of using positive, empowering language when we talk about our goals.
Right. So instead of saying, I have to lose weight, we can say, I'm committed to feeling healthier and more energetic.
Exactly.
It's subtle, but it shifts our entire mindset.
It really does. Our words shape our beliefs, and our beliefs shape our actions. But here's the crucial part. It's not enough to simply dream big and visualize our goals. We have to back it up with consistent action.
Right. And Robbins doesn't just leave us hanging with vague advice,
Yeah.
right? He actually provides us with a framework for breaking down those massive goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
He does. He calls this chunking. And honestly, it's a game changer because, when we're faced with a really daunting task, It can feel so overwhelming, even paralyzing. But if we break it down into those bite-sized pieces, it becomes much more approachable.
Like that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Exactly. And each small step, each accomplishment, it reinforces our belief that we can achieve those bigger goals. It creates this powerful upward spiral of momentum and motivation. So if we take a step back and look at everything we've unpacked today, Robbins has essentially given us a blueprint for personal transformation.
It's true. It starts with making conscious decisions, understanding how our minds work, harnessing the power of language, setting a magnificent obsession as our driving force, taking consistent action, and living in alignment with our core values. That's quite a journey.
It is, and remember, it's not just about achieving external success, but also about cultivating inner peace and fulfillment. And that's where Robbins emphasizes the importance of contribution.
Finding ways to use our unique talents and abilities to make a positive impact on the world around us.
Yes.
It's about realizing that true fulfillment comes not just from achieving our own goals, but from making a difference in the lives of others.
Well said. So as you go about your week, ask yourself, what small step can I take today to put these principles into action? What decision can I make? What action can I take that will move me closer to my own magnificent obsession?
Remember, even the smallest hinge can swing the biggest door. Until next time, keep those inner giants awakening.